So now we will consider the case of a production function in which output is the function of both labor and capital. So this is the case of a multivariate production function or a neoclassical production function. So this production function is called well-behaved production function if it obeys the following three properties. So property 1 is known as, if we see, so del y del L or del y del K greater than 0. So what is del y del K? Del y del L. That means if capital is constant, the change in output for appointment of or employment of one additional unit of labor. So this is nothing but the marginal productivity of labor, and similarly in the same logic it will be considered as the marginal productivity of capital if both are greater than 0. So this is the first property. The second property is that the second order derivatives will be negative. So second order derivative means this is nothing but the derivative of and these are less than 0. So this del y del L nothing but marginal productivity. So we can write del MPL, del L and del MPK, del K less than 0. The simple thing, that is the diminishing marginal productivity of labor and diminishing marginal productivity of capital. That indicates the second stage of the production if we consider the only one variable factor. So first is that marginal productivity, labor and capital are positive. Second thing, if keeping capital constant, if we increase the labor, employment of labor, marginal productivity of labor will decline. If keeping labor constant, if we increase the capital, marginal productivity of capital will also decline. The diminishing marginal productivities of capital and labor. And third condition, so what is this? So we can write that del y of, del L of del y del L equals to del L of del y del K greater than 0. So both will be greater than 0. So this is simple thing, that keeping labor unchanged, if we increase the capital, the marginal productivity of labor will increase because the workers will have more capital to work with. So similarly, if we increase the labor keeping capital unchanged, the marginal productivity of capital will increase because there will be more utilization of capital. So this condition is known as Inada condition. So by using all these three conditions, we can introduce the concept of isoquant, which is also known as producer's indifference curve. So first let's define the isoquant. Isoquant means what? Isoquant means the locus of different combinations of two factors from which the producer can yield same level of output. So again I repeat, locus means the path of movement. What does the locus define? The different combinations of two factors that will produce the same level of output. So that's why isoquant is known as producer's indifference curve. Iso means equal, quant means quantity. So if we consider that in horizontal axis we are measuring labor, in vertical axis we are measuring capital. So producer will always choose higher level of output, always higher level of output is always desired for the producer. So if we start from here, that we use a combination A, which indicates OL1 units of labor and OK1 units of capital. So if we move at this point, consider another combination B1. So B1 will definitely give more level of output compared to A1 because labor is constant, capital is constant, but labor is increasing. Appointment of labor is increasing. Similarly, if we move B2 and this direction, every point will give you higher level of output. And similarly, if we move at this direction, that C1, C2, all the combinations will give you higher level of output. So this shaded area, each and every combination of factors will indicate higher level of output compared to A. Now, if we consider another point G1. So if we compare between G1 and A, both combinations contain same amount of labor, but G1 contains less amount of capital. So it will definitely produce less than A. Similarly, all will produce less than A. And if we move in this direction, left direction from A, so H1, if we compare between A and H1, A will definitely yield higher level of output compared to H1 because in both combinations the amount of employment of capital is same, but it indicates less amount of labor. And in this point definitely the production level will be less. So all these combinations will give lower level of output compared to A. And now in these two regions, we have to draw the isoquant. So whenever I am simply increasing the amount of labor, I have to reduce the amount of capital. Or if we move in this direction, whenever I am reducing the amount of labor, I have to increase the amount of capital. So this is called isoquant or producer's indifference curve. All points on the isoquant will yield the same level, will indicate same level of output. So any point at the right side of the isoquant will indicate higher level of output and any point at the left side of the isoquant will indicate lower level of output. Now let us consider the properties of the isoquant. So first property is isoquants are so let us take an equation of an isoquant. So this if YF LK, it indicates this is the equation of a well-behaved production function. So if we want to convert it into the equation of isoquant, what do we need to do? Just remember the definition of isoquant. The output level should be fixed and the employment of labor and capital both will be variable. So this is the equation of an isoquant whenever I consider y as constant. Now, if we differentiate it, we get left hand side equals to 0 So in right hand side it will be del F del L into dl plus del F del K into dk. So what is del F del L? That is nothing but the change in production for employment of one additional unit of labor when the capital is constant, technology is constant. That means other things remaining constant. So this is nothing but the marginal productivity of labor multiplied by DL, and this will be similarly by the same logic it will be marginal productivity of capital multiplied by change in capital. So this is 0. So we can write that minus MPK dk equals to, or if we do the cross multiplication, dk by dl equals to minus MPL by MPK. So from the definition of well-behaved production function, we can know that MPL and MPK both are positive. So we can write that dk by dl is less than 0. This ratio of change in labor, capital by change in labor, this is known as, we call it the marginal rate of technical substitution between labor and capital. The amount of capital that the producer is willing to sacrifice to appoint one additional unit of labor so that his level of production remains unchanged. So this is the definition of marginal rate of technical substitution between labor and capital. So there is similarity with the indifference curve. In the case of indifference curve, consumer is consuming two commodities in which the slope of the indifference curve is marginal rate of substitution, the amount of Y that the consumer is willing to sacrifice to consume one additional unit of X so that his utility level remains unchanged. And here the amount of amount of capital that the producer is willing to sacrifice to appoint one additional unit of labor so that his level of production remains unchanged. So this is the first property. The slope is negative. That means the indifference curve is negatively sloped. That means it indicates the inverse relationship between capital and labor. So property number 2. Higher indifference curve indicates higher level of output. So we'll prove it graphically that we consider two indifference curves, higher isoquant. In vertical axis capital, horizontal axis labor, and two indifference curve in isoquant, this is y0, this is y1. So if we draw a straight line and two combinations, this is M and this is N. So M indicates OL1 units of labor and OK1 units of capital. And N indicates OL2 units of labor and OK2 units of capital. And we can find here OL1 is less than OL2, OK1 is less than OK2. So definitely the combination N will, factor combination N will produce more output compared to M. So we can write that the output, so quantity of output is M is less than quantity of output in N. Similarly, if we consider N1, so N1 and N producing same level of output, N is producing higher level of output compared to M. So from here we can write that QN01 is greater than QM. From here we can say that any combination on this indifference curve sorry, isoquant Y1 indicates higher level of output compared to the combination M. Now if we introduce one more point, M1. So if we compare between N1 and M1, so N1 produces higher level of output compared to M. M and M1 are producing same level of output, so definitely N1 yields higher level of output compared to M1. So we can write that QM1 is QM1 is less than QN1. So any combination on this indifference isoquant Y1 yields higher level of output compared to any combination on the lower isoquant Y0. So higher isoquant indicates higher level of output and lower isoquant indicates lower level of output. So third property, two isoquants can never intersect. So we can prove here if the two isoquants intersect each other, that will create serious logical error. So this is isoquant number 1 and this is isoquant number 2. So this is a combination A and this is a combination B. This is a combination C. So as A is at the right side of the B, so we can easily write output at A is greater than output at B. Now A and C are on the same isoquant, so YA equals to YC. Output of A equals to output of C. C and B are on the same isoquant, so we can write it YC equals to YB. So from here we can say Y1, YA equals to YB. So here, what is the logical error? Once I am saying that combination A yields higher level of output compared to combination B. Again I am saying that combination of A is producing same level of output. So how it is possible? By the grace of well-behaved production function, it is not possible. So that means it indicates a serious logical error. So there is no possibility that two isoquants will intersect each other. And the fourth property is isoquants must be convex to the origin. So what is the slope of isoquant? It is given as change in labor by, it is given as change in capital, change in labor, and which is negative. So dk by dl equals to the marginal rate of technical substitution between labor and capital. So one downward sloping curve is called convex to the origin if we find that as it moves from left to right it becomes flatter. So that means what? The value of MRTSLK will gradually decline. That means that if we do the second order derivative dq2k by dl2, this must be positive. So first let us explain it logically, then we will explain it mathematically. So MRTSLK equals to how much? Minus MPL by MPK. So as we move from left to right, that means we are increasing the amount of labor and we are reducing the amount of capital. So if it happens, definitely whenever we are moving from left to right, what happens that marginal productivity of labor will fall and marginal productivity of capital will gradually rise. So forget about the symbol. Now take the value. If the numerator declines and the denominator rises, so definitely the slope, the volume of the slope declines. That means the isoquant, as we move from left to right, isoquant will gradually become flatter. So that means that is the shape of convex to the origin. Now if we can differentiate it, so if we do the second order differentiation, that we know that dkdl equals to minus mpl by mpk. So if we get the second order derivative, so by the process it will be minus of mpk whole square. So minus mpk multiplied by del L of mpl minus mpl into del k, so del L of mpk. So now mpk is positive, this is negative. Negative multiplied by negative is positive. mpl positive, this is also positive. So it is multiplied by minus 1 is negative, and negative it is positive. So from here we can say that d2k dl2 is greater than 0. So from here we prove that the isoquants are convex to the origin. So from the well-behaved production function we get the isoquant, we find the properties of the isoquant, but remember that the isoquant represents the producer's preference. So we cannot find out at which level of what level of output the producer will produce unless we don't know the producer's constraint. That means the producer's cost constraint. So for that we have to introduce the isocost line, and finally we can reach the producer's equilibrium of the producer. So in the next discussion we will discuss about the isocost line and producer's equilibrium.